Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm back with another video about transfer news, and in this one Swansea City club captain Matt Grimes has left the club to join championship rivals Coventry. The fee is said to be around 4 million with add-ons. Obviously Matt Grimes signed for the Swans back in January 2015, and after spending 10 years with the club, the last 7 as captain, he's decided to leave to sign for Coventry City. In those 10 years, he's been a really consistent performer for us, and in those 10 years he's made 333 appearances, 271 of those as captain, 16 goals, 35 assists, and 7 South Wales derby wins. So he'll always go down as a club legend in my eyes. Regardless of what you think of him, he is irreplaceable in a sense. It is a shame that he didn't stay a bit longer, because I thought he'd easily break the, I thought he'd go on to make 500 plus and possibly even break our record and become the all-time appearance maker. I certainly didn't expect him to leave this soon. And to be honest, I thought he would retire here. But for our club captain to leave, at the end of January in the middle of the season after spending 10 years here, it does, certainly show that something's not right with the club at the moment. It is a shame he's left so suddenly, and in my opinion, I don't think Coventry is that much of a step up in terms of quality or table position or anything like that. But they are certainly a more ambitious team than us. There's no denying that, and you can understand why he'd want to leave, given the current situation at the club. Maybe more money, family as well. So personally, I don't blame him for leaving. But, I can see the other side of it as well. It is a bit of a shame. Why now? Why couldn't he wait till the end of the season? But, as I just touched on, maybe he is fed up. Maybe, he is being offered a bit more at Coventry. And, you have got to put family first. So I do understand that. But as I said, very frustrating that it wasn't at the end of the season. Maybe we could have had time to sort of, replace him, because realistically nobody's seen this coming, did they? Let's be honest, especially not in the January transfer window. He's a player that's always been available for us over the last decade, whether that be for Potter, Cooper, Martin, Duff or Williams. And just to put into perspective, since the start of the 2018-19 season, we've played 305 games. He's played 301 of them. And out of those, he started 293. So, out of our last 305 games, he's only missed 4, which is pretty ridiculous. It just shows how available he is, and how consistent he is. And he's always been a player that's been there. There've been players leaving the club in the past, which, are tough to take. You go back to the likes of like James, Dan James, McBurney, Roden and Roberts, those 4 all left in the space of 2 or 3 years, and that was tough to take. You even go back to Andre Ayew as well, same time as Connor Roberts. When he left, obviously he didn't come through the academy like the other players did, but he had 2 spells at the club, and the second one, he formed a really deep connection with the fans. And even go back to players like Fabianski when we got relegated. You could see how upset he was when he left us. Some are very tough to take, but this one just feels different, doesn't it? He's the last sort of player remaining in the club who sort of broke out under Potter. I know you got Fulton there as well, but I mean, in terms of he's the last one who broke out and is still playing for us now, week in, week out. But we have had some good times as fans with Grimes. Shared some unforgettable moments over the last few years, most notably being the penalty scored against City under Graham Potter in the FA Cup. He's got 7 derby wins, including the double-double as well, 4 in a row. And also the playoff semi-final goal he scored, in lockdown to send us to Wembley back in 2021 against Barnsley. Obviously we went on to lose the final, but that was a very special moment, that goal that Grimesy scored to send us to Wembley. But yeah, if there's any Coventry fans watching this, in terms of what you're getting as a player, you'll get someone who's very consistent on what he does. He works extremely hard. He'll always give his best, and he'll do the utmost to make sure he's always available. And he's a very good player at linking the play from defence to attack. got very good passing capabilities, and he's a bit of a workhorse really. He's not your usual captain in terms of shouting or being in his teammates' faces or in the referee's face or anything like that. But he certainly does have leadership qualities, hence why he's been our captain for the last 7 years. But yeah, if there's any Coventry fans watching, that's the type of play you'll be getting. I think you have definitely got a good player on your hands. As I said, when I said it's not really that much of a step up, that's no disrespect to Coventry. They're definitely a club that's on the up, a very ambitious side, especially now Lampard's taken over. So, it's only upwards for Coventry, I think. But in terms of where both clubs are right now, I don't think it's too much of a difference. But hopefully he doesn't play against Swansea on the weekend for Coventry, because you imagine that, bloody hell. Imagine if he scores as well, that would just be our luck. But yeah, if there's any Coventry fans watching this, you've definitely got yourself a good player. But for our sake, moving on to replacing him, how do you replace someone who's been so consistent, so committed, and so available, I guess, over the last decade? We were linked with that Swedish midfielder. I think he's 22 years old, Milka Whittle or something like that, from Danish side, Aalborg. But is he really going to be a like-for-like replacement for Grimes, especially when Grimes has been so good over these last 7 years or so? But we really haven't really haven't done well in the transfer window, have we? Let's be honest. It's the end of January, and at the time of recording this, we've made one signing, which is Hannes Delcroix, which is only on loan. He hasn't played for 18 months, and is that just because Darling got suspended? Would we have made that had he not been suspended? Was it just a rush by? You just don't know. But we're in a massive mess at the moment. You look back to November, it all looked so promising. You had a change in ownership. Williams was looking very much up for the cause, and he wanted to, really make a statement for the Swans. Cabango and Cullen both signed new contracts. Darling was on the brink of doing it as well. The fans were told we'd have a good January ahead. And as soon as Grimes only signed a new 2-year contract extension back in August, I really didn't expect this, but now the club seems to be in a worse state than ever. It's not been a very good January at all. We started off with a 4-0 defeat to Portsmouth. Cabango got injured. Darling hasn't signed a new contract. He obviously got suspended against Sheffield United. We lost 3-0 to our biggest rivals. There was talk about our manager leaving. We lost 3-0 to Southampton and had to play 2 right backs at centre back because both of our centre backs were unavailable. We lost 5-1 to Norwich, and now following on from that, our captain looks like he's going to leave. So, our captain is leaving. It's very It's been a very bad January, and I never thought I'd say this, but it's probably the worst one I've had as a Swansea City fan. And there has been a lot. I know we've had worse ones in terms of the fact we haven't signed anyone, whereas I know we've signed at least one player this season in Hannes Delcroix. But I think everything else around it, not just the lack of signing players, but everything else I mentioned, such as Darling not re-signing, Grimes going, the speculation about Williams, I think, and the results as well, losing to our rivals. I think everything or put together has really made this a very bad January for Swans fans, and it's certainly one we want to move on from, and really try and we are in sort of a relegation battle. It's hard to admit that. You never would have thought that a few months ago. I do think we'll be fine personally. That doesn't come back to bite me, but I do think we'll be fine. But there's got to be some sort of worry there, especially we're 17th now, and everything I just mentioned. We are in a sort of relegation battle, and the club's in a massive mess at the moment. One of the worst states it's ever been in, this certainly in my lifetime as well. But yeah, it's such a shame for Grimes to be leaving. As a Swans fan, and for how long I've been going, he's certainly the player that I've witnessed make the most appearances for this club. So, it is going to be weird to imagine Swansea without Matt Grimes, especially as our skipper as well. But, it is frustrating, as I said, but we do need to to try and find a replacement, but you know, I can't see it. I can't see us doing it, and if we do, I can't see it, you know, being the right one. But you know, short term, we have options, you know, till the end of the season, such as Joe Allen and Jay Fulton, you know, who just like Grimes have been great servants for the club. Or you've even got options of the youngsters such as Ben Lloyd, or you've got Ollie Cooper when he comes back from injury. But you know, there's no getting away from the fact that we need some kind of replacement, and we do need one quick as well. But you know, another question as well: who becomes our new captain? You know, you do have a few options for the club captain, with the likes of Allen, Fulton, and Norton, and then maybe your sort of on-field captain. Maybe you go with someone like Cullen or Cabango. You know, they obviously know the club inside out. You also got Harry Darn as an option, but he looks to be on his way out, so I think you sort of rule him out. Vigouroux as well, he's another option. You know, although he's not been at our club for too long, he's definitely a player with experience. And I think if it wasn't for the language barrier, you know, Franco's definitely captain material, but obviously there'd be a lot of communication, you know, issues within the team, because obviously a lot of players speak different languages. But I think for me, the smartest option for us to go for, I think we go with Joe Allen as our club captain, and Cabango being the sort of on-field captain and our captain week in, week out, unless Joe Allen does play. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Obviously, as I said, I don't blame, you know, Grimes too much for going. I can see both sides. It would have been nice if he stayed till the summer, and you know, it would be nice if he sort of dragged us out of this rut, rather than leaving when, you know, when we're facing, you know, tough issues and problems. But I can see both sides of it. As I said, you know, in my eyes, you'll always go down as a club legend. You know, regardless of what you think of him, regardless of what he goes on to do in his career. As I said, I didn't expect him to leave yet. I thought he could have, you know, gone to make more appearances than he has. But as I said, I think he'll always go down as a club legend. But you know, yeah, very frustrating. Hopefully he doesn't play against us on Saturday. You know, that would be a bit of a kick in the teeth, wouldn't it, if he did? But yeah, as I said, you know, very disappointing. But you know, what can you do? We're in a terrible position as it is, and this has just made it even worse. But yeah, once again, a massive thanks for watching this. I will be back very, very soon for the next one. Once again, a massive thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for the next one.